Omnivore's Dilemma, pages 17 through 23. How Corn Took Over America, a Field of Corn. The average supermarket doesn't seem much like a field of corn. Take a look around one. What do you see? There's a large air-conditioned room. There are all long aisles and shelves piled high with boxes and cans. There are paper goods and diapers and magazines, but that's not all. Look again. Somewhere behind the brightly colored packaging, underneath the labels covered with information, there is a mountain of corn. You cannot be able to see it, but it's there. I'm not talking about the corn in the produce section. That's easy to recognize. In the spring and summer, the green ears of corn sit out in plain view with all the other fruits and vegetables. You can see a stack of ears next to the eggplant, onions, apples, bananas, and potatoes, but that's not a mountain of corn, is it? Keep looking. Go through produce to the back of the supermarket and you'll find the meat. There's the corn. There's corn here too, but it's a little harder to see. So where is it? Here's a hint. What did the cow and the pig and the chicken eat before they became cuts of meat? Mainly corn. Go a little further now. There's still a lot of corn hiding in that supermarket. How about those long aisles of soft drinks made from corn? That freezer case stuffed with TV dinners? Mostly corn. Those donuts and cookies and chips? They're made with a whole lot of corn. Supermarkets look like they contain a huge variety of food. The shelves are stuffed with thousands of different items. There are dozens of different soups and salad dressings, cases stuffed with frozen dinners and ice cream and meat. The range of food choices is amazing. Yet if you look a little closer, you begin to discover it's all corn. Well, maybe not all corn, but there's still an awful lot of it hiding here, a lot more than you suspect. We think of our supermarkets as offering a huge variety of food, yet most of that huge variety comes from one single plant. How can this be? Corn is what fed the steer that becomes your steak. Corn feeds the chicken and the pig. Corn feeds the catfish raised in a fish farm. Corn-fed chickens lay the eggs. Corn feeds the dairy cows that produce the milk, cheese, and ice cream. See those chicken nuggets in the freezer case? They're really corn wrapped up in corn. The chicken was fed corn. The batter is made from corn flour. The starch that holds it together is cornstarch. The oil that it's fried in was corn oil. But that's not all. Read the label, and any bag of chips, candy bar, or frozen snack. How many ingredients do you recognize? Maltodextrin, monosodium glutamate, ascorbic acid. What are those things? What about lecithin and monodi and triglycerides? They're all made from corn. The golden food coloring? Made from corn. Even the citric acid that keeps the nugget fresh is made from corn. If you wash down your chicken nuggets with almost any soft drink, you're drinking corn with your corn. Since the 1980s, almost all sodas and most of the fruit drinks sold in the supermarket are sweetened with something called high fructose corn syrup. Read the label on any processed food, and corn is what you'll find. Corn is in the non-dairy creamer and the Cheese Whiz and the frozen yogurt and the TV dinner, the canned fruit and the ketchup. It's in the candy, the cake mixes, the mayonnaise, mustard, hot dogs, bologna, salad dressings, and even the vitamins. Yes, it's in a Twinkie too. There are some 45,000 items in an average American supermarket, and more than a quarter of them now contain corn. This goes for the non-food items as well, everything from toothpaste, cosmetics, to disposable diapers, trash bags, and even batteries. Corn is in places you would never think to look. It's in the wax that coats the other vegetables in the produce section. It's in the coating that makes the cover of a magazine shine. It's even part of the supermarket's building because the wall board, the floor, and many other building materials are made with corn. Carbon from corn. You are what you eat, it's often said. If it's true, then what we are today is mostly corn. This isn't just me being dramatic, it's something that scientists have been able to prove. How do they do this? By tracing the element carbon as it goes from the atmosphere to the plants, then to our food, and finally to us. You may have heard the expression that humans are a carbon-based life form. This always seems to come up in science fiction movies, but it's true. Like hydrogen and oxygen, carbon is an element, one of the basic building blocks of matter. All molecules make up our cells. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats contain the element carbon. All of the carbon in our bodies was originally floating in the air as part of a carbon dioxide molecule. Plants take the carbon out of the carbon dioxide and use it to make food, carbohydrates. They do this through a process called photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, plants use energy from the sun, photo means light, to synthesize, make food. All of our food is in fact almost all life on Earth and can be traced back to photosynthesis in plants. It's more than a figure of speech to say that plants create life out of thin air. So the plants take the carbon to make it into food. Then we eat the plants or we eat animals that have eaten the plants. And that's how carbon ends up in our cells. But not all carbon is the same. Corn uses slightly different types of carbon than other plants. So by looking at the type of carbon in our cells, scientists can tell how much corn we have been eating. Todd Dawson, a biologist at the University of California, Berkeley, has done exactly that kind of research. He says that when you look at carbon on an average, American cells, we look like a corn chip with legs. Americans don't think of themselves as corn eaters. Our bread is made from wheat flour. We don't eat a lot of corn on the cob. When we think of serious corn eaters, we often think of people in Mexico. About 40% of their calories, some directly from corn, mostly in the form of corn tortillas. Yet Americans have more corn in our diet than Mexicans. It's just like that the corn we eat wears many different disguises. So how did corn take over America? It's really a tremendous success story, for corn anyway. Corn has managed to become the most widely planted crop in America. More than 80 million acres of farmland are planted with corn every year. Today, it covers more acres of the country than any other living species, including human beings. It has pushed other plants and animals off the American farm. It has even managed to push a lot of farmers off the farm. I'll explain that one later. Corn is now one of the most successful plants on Earth. It's important to remember that while humans use plants and other animals, it's not a one-way street. Plants and animals don't just sit around waiting for human beings to use them. They use us too. The ones that we adapt to use our farms and cities to spread to multiply. Corn became king of the farm and the supermarket because it adapted itself easily to the needs of farmers and food markets. It had qualities that human beings prized. Those qualities allowed it to spread and grow until it worked its way into every corner of our lives and every cell in our bodies. The rise of maize. When Columbus returned to Spain after his first voyage, he described many wonderful things he had seen to Queen Isabella. One of his discoveries was a towering grass with an ear as thick as a man's arm, to which grains were affixed in a wondrous manner, and in form and size like golden peas, white when young. The grass was called maize, but today we know it as corn.